Welcome to Balance of Forces, an independent platform where we provide current affairs and business analysis. Today we look at two topics. We look at Natasha Tahane's comments on the former Speaker of Parliament, Baleka Mbete, and we also look at the family meeting, this evening's family meeting. My name is Badon Khosokwane, and I'm joined by Jamie Mighty, our political analyst. Jamie, it's been interesting in these Twitter streets. It's been very interesting. MacG, a very popular South African podcast, had Natasha Tahane, and Natasha shared some very controversial, information about her relationship with Baleka Mbete and the money given for education, and Twitter just went amok with that. What do you think of this story?
Well, I have some thoughts, and I'll share them just now. But let's play the clip just in case anybody missed it. This is now I think it's been watched 1 million times, went viral on Twitter, and here it is.
And then I needed funding, and then I called Ugcinwa and Russell. They helped me. Gagu Mambalega, she was still the chairperson of Parliament then.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mama, I need to go and study.
How much do you need at this time?
Yo.
It was a lot.
I think I spent around about the entire year was $1 million, and like it was
Brands.
$1 million plus, yeah. It was $1 million plus.
Good investment.
So,
Good investment.
But now there's still Ugudla, there's all these things. It was a lot. And then I told Mama, I'm like, Mama, I need to go back to school. I've been accepted. Now, Ganje, I didn't sign my second year, yeah, the Queen.
Yeah.
So angazi this was so uti something, and then she managed to speak to arts and culture, and then they gave me funding, but I only asked for the first semester because I was scared.
Well, that's the clip, and I think let's start here, right? And I'm going to start here. Education is very important.
Very important.
And everyone must advance their education as far as possible. I'm of the view that you cannot and should not John Steenhuisen in life. I'm of the view that you should go, get skills, improve your expertise, and apply those expertise to your industry. So Natasha, as we can all see, is a very talented actress. No doubt about that. She has, I think, been, good in some of the roles that she's performed in.
Definitely.
I think I watched, what is that thing called? Blood and what?
Blood and Water.
Blood and Water, I watched that. She was in it. I was happy with her performance. She was acting as the minister's child or whatever. So I think she did well in the role. I think she executed her duties. She's a talented actress. The issue is not that she's talented. The issue is unlawful, right, and unprocedural entitlement to state funds. That's the issue. Because what is she saying to us? She says, I called the Speaker of Parliament who made a call for me, and then I got money from the Department of Arts and Culture. Now, that is not a typical way to get funding for students. How do students typically get funding? You apply to NSFAS, you get a student loan, or you pay your own way, right? So in NSFAS, there is a specific criteria, the means test, who must get approved, and then you get approved based on your need. And from what I've been told, there's no funding that is provided for like international studies in the arts, right? So that's not the kind of thing that you should get funding for. So it must be done out of pocket. So you're a successful actress. People in the country are struggling to get access to education funding. And now you get it through the back door.
But Jamie, hold on, brother. So in universities, this is a very, very common practice. The South African Student Congress, they've got the Right to Learn campaign. Top of the year, from January to February, Fundingangana, right? It is well known. It's public information. Normally, what would happen in different provinces where universities are constituted, right? SASCO leaders would draft a list that would go to provincial or national leaders to say, Makaban, we need X amount for prehistorical debt, we need X amount to register first years, we need X amount for excluded comrades, or whatever the situation may be. What is different from what Natasha's doing to that process? Because
But is when SASCO does this, are they getting NSFAS money, or are they not sending to say, please give this list to, I know once people tried to compile a list for Patrice Motsepe to say this is the list of students at WITS who are in financial need, who need support. Can you do something in your foundation? Can you do something with the funding that you have? It wasn't make government money available for us.
But in a lot of instances, it is like that, brother. Because
so the money that you're saying that SASCO goes to get is coming from where?
It's coming from government, whether state, local, or provincial. However, it's money that they like, Makabane, this is what's needed. And it's not, it doesn't go through the proper channels of application.
But you've said it, right? You've said it. If it's not going through the proper channels, then we have to reflect on it. So there's two things here. Number one, Natasha is jumping the line, right? What line? The line of people who've applied for funding in the Departments of Arts and Culture. She's jumping the line. She's making a call, and her funding needs are being prioritized over everyone who's on the wait list. You know for a fact that artists are always trying to get funding from that department, and they are often failing, right? The second thing is that she gets this large amount of money, right? Apparently, they don't even fund over 250,000 rands. She says, I only send for first semester, but it's a 1-year course. So if you send for first semester, that's about 500,000. Do you understand? So one, you jump the line. Two, you got this funding that comes to you through a connection and not through a direct line. You know PAJA, what is it? Promotion of Administrative Justice Act. You know that there are certain processes that must be followed when an administrative decision is made by an administrator, right? So now, this particular administrative decision is made outside of the processes and protocols that are established for the minister to approve funding, right? So Balega calls Natim Church, or whoever was the minister at the time, Natasha gets the money. This is not procedural. So you've got two issues. One is the issue of the ethics. You've jumped the line. Other students are trying to access funding. Other artists are trying to access funding. But not only have you jumped the line, number two, you have gone and got this money unlawfully because you didn't follow the prescribed process in that particular department, and the decision maker made the decision outside of the prescripts of PAJA. So that is an unlawful administrative action. It's unlawful. So the money has been acquired illegitimately from taxpayers. And then there's another ethical question around, should a country which is suffering from high unemployment, high poverty, high inequality, take its limited tax resources and use those to fund successful, well-off, connected people? The answer ought to be no. In fact, we shouldn't be giving the rich more stuff from the state coffers when there are people who are trying to access stuff from those same state coffers and they're being told there's no money. Students are being told there's no money. When students went through Fees Must Fall, they were told there's no money, right? So as much as I believe in education, and we started in education being valuable, I do think that international education can be a luxury if you do have local alternatives that exist for you. So if you are a very successful artist making a lot of money in your industry, maybe this is something that you should save for. Maybe this is something that you should tap into your family and your friend networks to fund. Maybe get a student loan, right? Get a student loan, fund this thing another way. Don't necessarily try to fund this thing through the state. Leave others who genuinely cannot access funds, right? And who are those people? People who are applying for NSFAS are coming from squatter camps. They're coming from single parent homes, from no parent homes. They've gone through a lot to get to the finish line, to get distinctions in high school. Some people have been crossing rivers. Some people have been walking kilometers every day, swimming across rivers to get to school so that they can go to university. These are the people applying for NSFAS. So now you are taking from that pool of money, the pool of money for education funding. When you are an established actress, successful at the time, Do you understand? So I support the furthering of your education, but I do think that it was not done appropriately.
A quick one. Where to from now with this specific story?
With this specific story, wait, Natasha, wait. So with this specific story, I think there is more reporting that is required.
Okay.
I think Mac G opens the door, but he's not a hardcore journalist.
He's not an investigative.
He's not an investigative journalist. So we need investigative journalists to come in to establish how much money was provided, right? How was the money provided? Under what provisions? Under what package? And Natasha has to avail herself to the public to respond to these questions. One, she's a public figure. Two, people love her. They love her content. Right? And it does seem as if she didn't fully think through how she got this money.
I don't think she was aware that it would have the backlash.
Which is why she said it freely. She thought that this is not an issue.
It's not an issue.
You know what I'm saying? But she needs to understand your fans love you, the nation loves you, which is why you need to account fully to them. And if necessary, even maybe pay back that money. Do you understand? If you have the means, pay it back. Get this off your back. Because this is not going away. She's been trending for 2 days now. It's not going away. She may think that she doesn't owe anybody an apology or an explanation because she knows her story, and that's some of the stuff she's retweeted. And it doesn't mean you're not a hard worker. But it means that you did benefit in a manner that was unethical and unlawful that does need accountability. So I think that's what comes next. And I also think that the other people in this conversation,
I was going to go to the Baleka Mbete accountability
to be asked,
and a PR. How does she manage?
She needs to account for how this thing was approved, as well as the relevant minister, Minister Natim Tetwa. They need to explain to the public everything around this particular amount of money. 1 million rands is a lot of money. Maybe she got 500,000, whatever the case may be. It's a lot of money. And apparently, these are the same kind of things which even ACE are being held accountable for. So we can't say that there's accountability for ACE, but there's no accountability for Baleka Mbete and Natim Tetwa. The accountability must extend equally, and there must be consistency. The EFF is alleged to have benefited 16 million as an organization from BBS. They've been held to task by the media. Do you understand what I'm saying? 100%. 1 million is a lot of money. That lady who got the NSFAS deposit of 12 million.
The PE lady.
Was it 12 million or 14?
14, something like that.
14 million into account. She says it was an accident. She went through a whole criminal procedure. The media came through and tried to understand exactly where did you get this money? How did you get this money? What was this money for? All of that is information that we asked about. And I think it's fair. It's fair for Natasha to be asked the same questions. It's fair for the procedural, the financial, and the ethical questions to be traversed. I don't think that this should end on Twitter. And I also think that Natasha does owe it to her fans. I think that she does owe it to her fans, and it's fine for these questions to be examined. I also think that beyond Natasha, everyone needs to think about how we use proximity and the ethics of proximity. Just because you're connected doesn't mean you should abuse that connection in ways that disadvantage other people, right? You can use connections to get knowledge. How do I get funding? Oh, Mtanami, you need to apply over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you apply as a normal person, but don't say, please call for me so that I get an accelerated thing. That is something we need to reflect on. And people are saying, no, you do it in the line, in the supermarket, you do it over here, you do it over there. One, the consequences are different for different things, and we need to be honest about that. But also, you maybe shouldn't let your friends into the line at the supermarket because they didn't queue. Right? In the supermarket, you're all equal. So if I'm standing and you're standing, and then I come in, and there's a long line, and I see you because I know you, what does my knowing you have to do with the fact that I have to queue?
Brother Jamie, before our time finishes, another important story. We're officially on level 1 in South Africa. It was the 28th of November today. The president is going to speak later on this evening at 8 o'clock. We are all tense. The family meeting, it's all tense. What should we expect? The numbers, there's a new variant in the mix. I mean, what's going on?
Well, I mean, it's anyone's guess what the man is going to speak about. But I think that the challenges that the president is going to be facing here is that, one, you do have the new variant. Two, you've got all of these travel bans on Southern African states because of Omicron. And three, you've got an increasing number of cases. You're going into a holiday season. So I think that when you consider all of that, and the objectives, remember, are still to manage the number of people with the virus in the country so that you can manage the hospital bed capacity. It used to be we're flattening the curve. It used to be all of these other things. But now we're just trying to make sure we've got bed capacity, etc., etc. I don't think we're trying to flatten a curve anymore. But I think these are going to be the challenges, and there may need to be a change to the level. So we may move from level 1 to level 3, where you still have relative freedoms, but some of those freedoms, like the nightclubs activities, is cut down. You probably may still have alcohol, which is one of the things people are questioning, but I think you will see that kind of an approach taken, and then a lot of reminders around the vaccination and also around movement. I don't think you're going to see necessarily what some people have been saying is vaccine mandates at this particular point, but you may start to hear some strong conversation towards vaccine mandate. I think that you're seeing the universities now are beginning to say from next year you're not going to be able to come in. UCT, Wits as well. You need to show proof of vaccination. But I think where we are right now, I don't think we're going to see necessarily the president say to get into a mall, you need to show proof of vaccination. I think there's going to be too much public pushback for that. So I think he's going to take a middle ground.
One last thing, can the economy afford a level 3?
Well, I mean, level 3 is not the worst level.
But still, those restrictive, I mean, we're going into the festive season. Private capital, businesses, we're all trying to get activity, some sort of flow within the economy.
Yeah.
Those restrictiveness, I mean, does it hamper tourism? We're already suffering, the travel bans from UK and many other countries. How does it?
I think at this particular point, the tourism sector is going to take a hard hit. The entertainment sector is going to take a hard hit, and also the restaurant sector is going to take a hard hit. Those are the sectors that have been really hit hard when some movements are restricted, nighttime activities are restricted. The alcohol industry doesn't sell as much, but they'll still sell volumes if it's still allowed during the week. At certain times, people will drink from home. They'll do house parties, those kind of things. But you're going to see some impact, of course, in tourism. You're going to see some impact. But I don't think there's anything he can do now. Because what are you going to do? You're going to say, there's Omicron, I'm just going to leave it alone, leave everything the way it is, leave you guys to be doing what I've been seeing on social media. Because there's been a lot of wild stuff. Even the whistle girl is back.
The whistle girl is back.
Whistle girl is back.
With the whistle girl.
Once the whistle girl comes back. Once the whistle girl comes back.
Twitter called it. Twitter, you guys are amazing. You called it.
Once the whistle girl comes back, in fact, maybe that girl works for the department because she works with the National Corona Command team. Because why does she show up right at the moment when shit is about to go down? Right? So I actually think that we're probably going to see a 3, but I know there's a lot of, so it'll probably be a level 3 adjusted or whatever. But let's see. I'm just speculating. Let's see what happens. It's going to be now. I think we'll just have to wait and see what the man says. But we should stop calling it a family meeting. It's not a family meeting, it's a presidential address. And I think we need to stop creating this familiarity with political organizations. Political organizations are not your family. They're not your church. They're not your soccer team. You shouldn't have these relationships of loyalty that we sometimes create, because they create problems later when you have to walk away. If you are too attached to an entity, you no longer can walk away from that entity and you can't criticize it. You need to look at political parties as service providers with ideology that you like. And if you look at them that way, you can always call them out and you can walk away. We need to be transactional in our approach to political parties and not like familial in our approach to political parties. They're not part of our team. They're not part of our squad. They're not part of our family. They're service providers. And I think when we start calling things family meetings, then you get too cozy with somebody. And, now it's family. And now family is family. And we must always accept what family says. But that's not necessarily the case, is it? Service provider.
That's all the time that we have. But Don Kotsogwane, political analyst Jamie Mighty, that's all the time we have.